Right, today's job, I've got to plaster this old wall. Now I'm not going to lie to you, plastering is difficult. It's probably the most difficult DIY job that I do. And it was hard to learn, but I learned how to do it. I'm self-taught, so I'm sure you can do it as well. So if you carry on watching, I'll show you how I plaster. The tools we're going to need are a plasterer's hawk, a 14-inch Marshalltown pre-worn trowel. Now say pre-worn, that's very important. If you start off with one that's not pre-worn, then you end up with lines all over your plaster. So I recommend this one, the Marshalltown pre-worn. Now I did start off with a small trowel like that, but the bigger the trowel, the better the job really. I also use a refiner Plaziflex, and that just helps with the second coat, finishing it, gives a better finish I think. Bucket trowel, scraper, little roller, some scrim tape, and for the beginners, a spray bottle for the water. We'll also need a bucket and a bucket to mix in. We need some PVA. I like to mix it in an old milk tub. But remember to write PVA in it because it does look like milk and you don't want to drink it. And a little pink kettle just to throw it in. And the plaster we're going to be using today is Thistle multi-finish. Right, that's all the tools I'll need today, so I'll leave a link in the description below to Amazon sites where you can get all these tools. Right, I forgot one tool that I forgot to mention, and it's probably one of the most important. Okay, the drill with the mixer. Now it's only a cheap mixer, but it does the job. And it's just in my SDS drill with a chuck. Right, so there'll be a link to that in the description below as well. Right, the first thing I want to do is mix up my PVA in this old milk bottle. Now on the back of the tub it says mix it about 3:1 ratio. So I'll just put a couple of rough marks there just so I know where to fill it up. Okay, so that's roughly 3:1. Put the lid back on. Give it a shake and just mix it. That's good to go now. So if you mixed a bit too much, you can also store it in that container as well. Before I can apply the PVA to the wall, I need to put scrim tape over any cracks in the wall. Now, as you can see, we did have quite a few cracks in the wall, so I've already started. But the way to apply it, it's self-adhesive, so you just put it over the crack, smooth it down, okay? And the way I like to cut it off, put my trowel there, and just whip it off. Okay, so you smooth your tape down and then just rip it off. You can use a Stanley knife, but this way is quicker I think. Okay, so using a Stanley knife, the tape on, smooth it down and cut it off. Okay, now that we've got the scrim on, we can put the PVA on. Just whack a bit in your plain kettle. And then just roll it on the wall. Right, any excess PVA, just pour it back into the milk jug and it'll be there for next time. Right, I've got a top tip to share with you. Now before on this wall, I had the mirror up and I had the radiator mounted as well. But instead of trying to plaster around the radiator mounts, I've took them off. But I don't want to have to re-put them back on. So what I've done, if you look closely, I've put the screw heads flush to the wall. And the same down here as well. See, the screw head's just flush. Okay, so that'll mean I won't have to mark, measure and re-drill to put these screws back in. So if you watch to the end of the video, I'll show you how I find them screws after it's been plastered. Right, now that the PVA is nearly dry, it's time to mix up the plaster. So, clean water, always put the water in first. And then add your plaster. A bit of a mix with your bucket trowel. Okay, now get your mixer in. Okay, it's still a bit runny for the first coat. Just add a little bit more plaster. So just give the mixer a little clean in a clean bucket. An old paintbrush. Okay, that's ready for putting on the wall. Right, you want it so it'll stick to your tools, but you don't want it too firm so it won't spread. So just get your hawk and your trowel. Wet them down so the plaster doesn't stick too much. And get a good dollop in your hawk. Right, I like to start in the top left hand corner and work my way to the right. Okay, so keep the angle fairly close to the wall and spread it out as far as you can. Now at this stage you just want to get the plaster on the wall as fast as you can. Don't worry about smoothing it out, that'll come later. Right, I'll put you on time lapse now. Right, I've got the first coat of plaster on. It's not perfect, it's full of lines, but that doesn't matter, it's on. So give it a few minutes just to firm up a little bit and then we can start smoothing it out a bit. But take this time now to clean your tools down in a bucket of water. Right, so let the plaster go off for a few minutes. So now, with a nice clean trowel, I'm just going to get all the lines out and make it fairly flat. Because it's first coat, it doesn't have to be perfect. Now put this on about 3 to 4 millimeters thick, and then the second coat should be 1 to 2 millimeters thick. Goes on a bit thinner, the second coat. Right, I'll put you on time lapse again. Right, I've flattened that off now. It's not perfect, but it's fine for the first coat. I'm just going to let that set up a little bit, and then I'll do the second coat on it. Just needs to firm up a bit before you put the second coat on. Right, if you've got any snots on the coving, the ceiling, the other walls, or around the woodwork, then scrape them off now while the plaster's still a bit soft, and then get your brush and just smooth it out a little bit. Right, I've let that set up now and it's just firm to the touch. It's not dry, but it's just firmed up. So now it's time to mix up the second batch. So it's pretty much the same as the first batch, just it's a little bit thinner, a little bit sloppier, so it spreads out better. Okay, so that's about the consistency I like for the second coat. Quite a wet mix. Okay, so just like before, I'm going to start at the top left, go across to the right, and then I'll go from the bottom up. This time I've switched to the plastic trowel. Now for the second coat, I think this makes the finish a lot better. It certainly made my finishing a lot better anyway. So I recommend these Refiner Plaziflex trowels, and there'll be a link in the description below so you can buy one from Amazon. Okay, so the angle you want to have your trowel is quite flat to the wall, so it spreads it along. If you go too much of an angle, you pull all the plaster off, and if you go too flat, your float will get stuck to the wall, and then it'll go like that, which you don't want. So get the angle just right and do as big a strokes as you can to keep it as flat as you can. Okay. Right, again you want to get it on as fast as you can, but you want to refine it a bit more this time, so try and be a bit neater. Because it's second coat, and if you're using a plastic trowel, you'll find that it does go on smoother. But again, you'll put it on and then you'll go back to the start and flatten it out again, and then you'll polish it up. So I'll put you back on time lapse so it goes a bit quicker, and then I'll explain what I'm doing in a minute. Right, now I've got the second coat on. I've just cleaned up all my tools. Now I'm just going to start flattening it out a little bit. Now it's still quite wet, so I'm just going to be pushing plaster around a little bit, but I just need to refine it and get the lines out. Okay, so that's fairly flat now. I've got all the hollows out. I've smoothed it out. Most of the lines are out. I've just got to wait for it to harden up a little bit. Then I can smooth it out a bit more. Then after it hardens up a little bit more, I'll start polishing it. That's where we start squirting it with water or flicking it with water and doing a bit of polishing on it. Now if you've got any snots on the walls of the woodwork or the coving, now's the time to get them off while it's nice and soft. Right, a little tip for you: when you've got a bit of extra plaster left over, you need to clean it out your bucket. Then these old plaster bags make great rubble sacks, so just shove it in there. Okay, make sure you always clean out your bucket properly so it's ready to go for next time, or the next coat, or the next wall. So scrape out as much plaster as you can. Throw a bit of water in it. Give it a good scrub with the brush. And sometimes, if it's a bit tough, I use these little scouring pads just to get off any stubborn bits around the edges. Right, now that it's firmed up a little bit, it's easier to refine it. So see, like I've got a line there. It's easy enough just to smooth it out. So at this point, what I'm doing is pushing the fat around, what's called the fat, which is like the slurry, so the water with a bit of the plaster, and that's going to fill all the little holes you've got. Make it nice and smooth. That's called a fat, and that's what I'm pushing round. Still a little bit soft, so I'm going to let it go off a little bit more before I start polishing it up. But it's nice and flat now. Right, if you find that the float isn't running very well, just get a little spray bottle, a little tiny bit of water, maybe a little bit on your float, and that'll just lubricate it up a little bit, make it glide over the plaster. Now some people have a tendency to polish it up too much. Now that looks alright and it feels lovely, but when you come to paint it, the paint just slides straight off. So you don't want it too shiny, you just want to polish it up so it's nice and flat and give a good key to the paint. Right, so now the wall's all flat and it's gone firm, I can start polishing it up now. So you spray a little tiny bit of water on just to keep your float lubricated so it doesn't stick and pull it off. And just polish it up a little bit. As I said before, don't go too mad, otherwise when you come to paint it, your paint will just slide straight off. So if you remember at the beginning of the video, I told you about the tip for finding the screws that I put flush in the wall and then I've skimmed over them. Well, to find them again, all you need is a little magnet. I think this one came off a fridge magnet. So I've let the plaster completely dry now. So roughly in the area where the screws was, the magnet just picks it up. That's where it is. Just put a little X there with a pencil. Take a Stanley knife. Just take a little hole. And there's the screw, so you don't have to measure and mark it out again. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. And in the next video, I'll show you how to paint fresh plaster. So watch out for that one. See you next time.